All right, guys, welcome back to another production meeting. The four of us are back. What are you guys up to this week? Anything new?
No, we're not doing anything new. We're never doing anything new. We just sit home, we either work or we watch movies. That's about it.
Isn't that the life, though?
That is a good life, honestly. You're going to be like, all right, so last week, I feel like I said I watched 12 movies. What is the over and under for how many movies I watched this week? And I'm not
3.
2.
Ah.
Okay, so two and a half is the over under. Okay, so I'm going with the over.
You did it. I watched 12 last week, and we're going with 2 right now.
Yeah, why not?
I'm gonna say 6.
You guys are all wrong. All I do, I have nothing to do with my life. I just sit at home, watch movies. I watched 19 films this week, sir.
Oh,
19. It's Spooktober. It's horror movies all the time. That's what I'm doing. So, 19.
Holy crap.
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay, well, time out. Are these new movies that you've seen, or are these 19 movies that you may have seen before?
What do you mean? Like, these are just movies that I watched. I have seen all these movies before.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I didn't know if these were 19 new movies that you've seen.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Okay. Sorry. I don't even think there's 19 new movies out this week or...
It means 19 movies that you hadn't seen, but now you...
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
No, these are... Actually, let me go through this list. No, I have watched definitely all these movies before.
Okay.
So, 7 of which we watched the whole Conjuring movie saga. Don't shake your head, Ryan. It's a great series.
Is this? Are you counting this as one?
No, this is all 7.
Oh, okay.
I counted. They all individual.
Okay.
Watched a couple of the Purge movies. Watched the horrible Orphan movie. I watched both Silent Hills, but I will say Silent Hill 1 is okay. Silent Hill 2 or Silent Hill Revelations, I believe, horrible. And then we went on a ghost binge with 13 Ghosts, the remake, not the original. Sorry, Ryan. House on Haunted Hill, the remake, not the original. Sorry, Ryan.
That's on my list.
As far as originals, we did watch the original Poltergeist, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. So that's why we did that. But then, then because I hate myself, we watched the remake of Poltergeist from 2015. And then
What? Sam Rockwell is awesome.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell is awesome
In another movie.
when he's playing a gorilla, but not when he's playing the guy in Poltergeist 2015. And then I watched Ghost Ship, which aside from the beginning, does not hold well. But there is I forgot Carl Urban was in there, so that was a pleasant surprise. And then I followed it up with the classic Monster Squad, which I like better than the movie we reviewed last week.
Probably true. Isn't Julianne Margulies in Ghost Ship too?
Yes.
Okay.
And Gabriel Byrne.
That's right.
But that was me, man. And then of course I watched Hubie and like 6.5 episodes or 7.5 episodes of Bly. So I probably need to find. Wait, who watched Hubie then? Alex, did you? Okay, so Ryan watched it.
Ryan did.
All right, man. We're about to go toe to toe, Ryan. Me and you talking about Hubie Halloween.
Can't wait.
Hubie.
I have nothing but positive, glowing recommendations for my new favorite film of 2020.
I think he's lying.
As you're going towards the light, that's the glow. Because you're dying.
All right. Anybody else? Ryan, you have a list.
Oh yeah. I was following Matt's example, except I didn't put the things I've rewatched on my list. So like we've been going through like the sarcastic horror films. So we watched Scream and Cabin in the Woods. But movies I watched for the first time this week, I watched the Terry Gilliam film Brothers Grimm. I watched a bunch of below average movies. I went to theaters to see the movie Yellow Rose, which I'll get back to. And that I also watched the remake of House on Haunted Hill because I love the original with Vincent Price. I really hated this remake. I watched the Disney's Haunted Mansion, which I also really hated. Goodness, is not a good week for me.
Tell us all the movies that you really, really hated, Ryan.
I watched the 1933 film, The Mystery of Wax Museum, which is the original House of Wax, because I've also seen the Vincent Price film, and we're going to watch the remake. But that movie has not held up very well as far as having your females scream through the whole movie. I watched Evil Dead 2, which I also didn't care about. I know that's a very popular one, and critics love it. Just don't care.
I'm more of a fan of the first Evil Dead than the second one, personally.
I don't know. I'll talk. I have respect for those movies, but I don't get it. I watched the Robert De Niro movie Hide and Seek, which might have been worse than going to see War with Grandpa. From like 2005, I think, was Hide and Seek. I tried to watch horror movies, and like none of these are scary. But I did watch all of DC's Swamp Thing from 2019. And that was easily the scariest thing I've watched this month. In a good way.
Show.
It's a slow burn. It's the reason I didn't watch any of Bly Manor this week, because it's visually dark. It's like a little emotionally hard to get through. Everything's very melodramatic, and it's ultra violent. So I was like, I don't know if I can handle two of these at the same time. But yeah, I very much enjoyed it. Love the practical stuff. I can definitely tell why it was canceled. Definitely got to find time to hit a target audience while censoring yourself for CW. So.
Yeah, don't put that curse out there, Ryan. I'm hoping that HBO Max actually picks it up.
Me too.
Yeah, it's a good show. So, Alex?
Nah, I didn't watch anything. I'm like the complete opposite of everybody else. I'm like, I just sit and do nothing. No, I watched 6 episodes of Bly Manor last night. I actually watched all of them yesterday, and then I caught up on The Boys. I'm done with season 2, and I watched a little bit of because we were looking through Disney Plus, and we were watching Corpse Bride, and that's okay. I mean, I didn't realize how old that was. That's 2005. I was just like, man, because I'm recognizing like Christopher Lee is in this person. I forget.
Just name Tim Burton.
Well, no, not Tim Burton, but there's a famous actress in there that I was like, oh yeah, she's in that, but I can't remember who it was. But anyway, that's all I watched.
Did you play anything?
I finished playing the Switch 3D All-Star Super Mario. Like, I played Super Mario 64, played it, got all the stars, finished those. I'm playing Super Mario Sunshine now, and then I've gotten a little bit further in the Avengers. I'm probably 75% of the way through the story. That's pretty good. That's probably going to be my next review for PlayStation games.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's all I've done.
Awesome. So, caught up on The Boys as well. Season 2 was way better than the first season. A lot more stuff to go through. I binge watched the first 3 seasons of Schitt's Creek, which if you guys have not seen this, Matt, I'm sure that you have.
Dude, I was going about that all in April, man. We knocked that thing out in like a month.
Yeah, it's a good show. Like I found myself laughing out loud with that show. Also watched THX 1138 for class.
Good movie.
It is a good movie. It's a little rough around the edges, but it is a good movie. And then I watched all the Daniel Craig James Bond movies. I don't know why. I was just hey.
There's 2 good movies in there.
Okay, hold on.
And you're just missing Bond already.
I am.
I know, right?
I was like, it was supposed to be out in November. Now it's Easter, whatever.
I've been rewatching The Conjuring.
Yeah.
What there's Casino Royale, there's Quantum of Solace, Skyfall,
Mhm.
and Spectre.
Boo.
Casino Royale, I think, is easily the best one out of the bunch.
Skyfall.
Skyfall.
I mean, I like them all. Quantum of Solace is my least favorite because I felt like that one was so confusing. All the other ones are fine to me. Like, I like Spectre. It goes Royale, Skyfall, Spectre, Solace.
Alex, I'm with you. I think Casino Royale is just a little better than Skyfall.
I don't know why. I think it's like it's a James Bond film, but it's not a James Bond film. Like it doesn't. It's a nice blend of not being too James Bondy, not like almost cliche, and then it's still action packed. But then it's got, I don't know. It's a good Bond film that isn't entirely a Bond film.
See,
I think that's why.
I almost think that takes away from it. Like it's almost more of an action movie than like a Bond film. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of raw. And I think Spectre overall, just based on, or not Spectre, I'm sorry, Skyfall overall, just based on its cinematography, knocks it way out of the park. The cinematography in Skyfall is ridiculous.
Well, in my world, it's like they're honestly they're like neck and neck. Like Casino Royale and Skyfall is like, I love them both. I love Skyfall. I remember taking my dad to go see it, and he was like, because I think it's more not psychological, but more of the mental aspect behind Bond, like why he's going through, mental withdrawals and everything. So I like it for that, but he doesn't, but I still like it. All of them are good. Even Quantum of Solace is fine. I mean, it's just a little confusing.
To give Casino Royale its due, I mean, it did introduce everyone to Daniel Craig, and I think they were trying to like introduce what this character was and how like raw and like not smooth like your typical Bond had been. And I think that's what its main job was. And I mean, it did it well. I just think overall, as far as like whole packages go, I just think Skyfall is just a better film overall, just from top to bottom.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. Where it's like with Casino Royale, you can tell that it's a reboot. Like it's going back to like its beginnings, and it's especially with that opening scene.
I was gonna say, not to interrupt you, I was gonna agree with you there because I was gonna say it's one heck of an opening chase, like through the construction site, through the overhanging cranes and everything, and I'm like that. It's super like over the top, but that's maybe why it left a lasting impression. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean with Casino Royale, I mean the cold opening, the first when it's ball white and stuff. I think it gives where he gets his 00 status. He has 2 kills or whatever. But with Skyfall, I think it brought a lot of the elements back to James Bond that Solace and Casino Royale didn't have, like Q and some of the gadgets and things like that, in a way that it didn't feel like Roger Moore, where it didn't feel like the last couple Pierce Brosnan ones. And I didn't mind Spectre because I think that's what they were trying to do with like Blofeld and stuff like that, is trying to introduce it in a way that didn't feel stupid. Now Quantum of Solace, is probably on the bottom of my list because it was just a little too long. And I didn't realize that each one of these movies was like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah. The only good like true nugget of like decent story I remember is at the end when you were revealing a little bit more of Vesper Lynn's background and who she was and why she did what she did. So that was kind of, I like that. So it ends on a positive note, but I think the overall package is a little too convoluted and just a little bit out there, and just that one feels like too much, not like a James Bond to me.
Yeah.
But they're all good. I mean, I would watch any single one of them.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of the better Bonds too.
Oh yeah, my dad. I mean, he's grown up watching every single one of them, and I mean, like he loved Sean Connery, but he's like, I love Daniel Craig. He's like, he set the bar now.
I think George Lazenby is definitely the best James Bond.
Yeah, man. He was like, I'm going to leave on a high note. I'm going to do this one, and then I'm deuces.
Oh, well. All right. We ready for the news? The news.
Boy, am I.
You are. Amazon has acquired Coming to America and will debut sometime in December. That is according to Variety. So things are going to streaming. I think they said that it was like December 18th is when it was supposed to like debut. I could be wrong.
Theatrically?
There's not a date on.
That's what the date was theatrically?
No, this is coming to Prime.
Oh,
No. I mean, originally, when it was before the deal was done.
It was a Christmas movie, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be around Christmas, but I think that Amazon is going to premiere it on the 18th of December.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me at all. I don't think that that's screaming for too many people to come out and watch it. Even though, the Christmas, we've talked about this. The Christmas slot is a coveted slot for a lot of films, even now with COVID. But still, it was kind of like not a matter of if, just when.
I'm just literally tired of all these shoes that keep dropping. Like, stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, stop. Just hold tight. Just come out. But, whatever. It's on Prime now.
I would be very interested to see if Amazon. I mean, I don't know what the situation will be like in December. Theaters do start opening up in December because I think like Free Guy still has the first weekend in December on its slate, and we still got Death on the Nile. So it'd be interesting to see.
For now.
Sorry.
For now.
Oh, yeah. For now, yeah. But it'd be interesting to see if those keep its release date. And because I know a lot of the Oscar films this year are going to be like Netflix. So it'd be interesting to see because Amazon has had its original content in theaters. Manchester by the Sea was a Best Picture nominee in 2016, and that was a theatrical release. So it'd be interesting to see if, I assume they'll probably keep it in Prime, but it'd be interesting to see if they keep that option open or not.
Well, as far as I know, they bought it for like $125 million to put it on Prime.
Okay.
So
Really?
Yeah, that's a lot of money for a movie that, let's face it, before COVID, like, it was probably in its right spot in like somewhere in December because like Eternals was supposed to come out in November, and like, Wonder Woman, all these like big tentpole superhero films were probably done by then. You know what I mean? Like, because like Bond was supposed to come out in like November 20th or whatever, and so it probably wouldn't have gotten swallowed. Like Star Wars is done, all these other like movies. I can't even remember if there was anything that was supposed to be huge that was supposed to come out in December. But now with all this, so they paid a lot of money to put this on Prime.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos has a lot of he's swimming in money. So I guess it is a little bit of a gamble. But if it doesn't end up paying off,
I don't know. That doesn't seem like a gamble. $125 million for that. That doesn't seem like a lot to me at all for that film, which I feel like would have grossed probably at least 40 or 50 in theaters. So
yeah, alone, yeah.
But the big question is, do you think it pushes subscriptions? I don't think so. Like, hey, I'm going to get Amazon Prime just to watch Eddie Murphy coming back and coming to America again.
Well, it's not that. It also means that the other services aren't going to have it too. So,
yeah.
If you want to watch the movie, that's where you got to go to see it. And if you're going to, get Prime, the best time to get Prime is probably in December.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I guess I hadn't considered the couple weeks right before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I would just consider that more of a coincidence. Like, I don't know. I don't think if subscriptions increase, that's not the reason they're going to. So, but that's just me. That's a heavy contender for why
now check out Amazon's premium content.
Yeah, right.
Matt, what if it's Alex, what if it's a Christmas movie and we just don't know? I don't know. I'm talking about.
There's probably Christmas in it.
I don't know. Yeah, there's a chance. I'm good.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Anna Taylor-Joy, Chris Hemsworth, and I'm going to try and say this guy's name. Yaha Abdul Mateen II, who's from Watchmen, is all being cast for the Furiosa prequel, I guess it would be called, to Mad Max Fury Road. Who's going to be written and directed by Mr. George Miller himself. So, cool.
I for some reason, Anna Taylor-Joy seems to be not the best fit, like, because she looks like she belongs in that world. I just think that her acting chops are a little bit more diverse, and she can be kind of like a chameleon, where she's like, she can adapt to a lot of different things. Whereas, like, you see Chris Hemsworth in that, you're gonna think that he's just in any other film, and it's just post-apocalyptic. I'm assuming that's still where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
So I think she's gonna be the best out of those three pushed into this. I think as long as she doesn't have that Russian accent, we're all due for a gem.
No, I saw some criticism where people were like, she doesn't look like a young Charlize Theron. And I'm like, you realize what movie this is. The art, makeup, costume, wardrobe department, set design, they're all you're gonna have all sorts of makeup and costumes on. You're not gonna be able to tell anyway. She's probably gonna have her head shaved. So whatever, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great.
That's a dumb criticism. That's exactly, I agree with you. That's so dumb. Who cares? Like, that's what wardrobe and, effects are all about.
I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. I'm sure it's a roll of the dice if it's as good as the last one, but I'm sure it'll at least be sort of fun. And all those people are definitely well equipped to handle it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm a little on the fence / indifferent. Like, there's potential, but I'm just going to wait and see what people say and then go out and, well, if it's theatrically or who knows at this point. So, yeah, there's definitely potential.
Well, it's to get filmed first, Alex.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised this news came out like this year. The movie was like 4 to 6, 2014, 15. And I know
15.
Yeah, and I think right after it came out, they were like, oh, prequel. And I'm like, I'm glad they've taken their time with not rushing casting or rushing it into production. It's a little surprising based on like the way they kind of greenlight sequels. They're like, oh, we got this ready, and then a week later we got like, oh, we've got all this cast ready to go. Walking Dead would have had an entire season done from its 5th spinoff.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, Fury Road was 2015.
Okay.
So a good 5 years.
Yeah, good sequel pacing there.
Yep. Okay, so next up, why do we need this? The Others remake. Why do we need this? This is in 2001.
They're gonna make it. They're gonna make it modern day, man. That's what Wikipedia said because I had to look. They're just gonna make it modern day. I'm assuming. Yeah.
I totally didn't even catch what you said. What's the sequel?
The Others. It's a remake.
Alex, have you seen it?
No.
Then close your ears because we're about to get spoiler heavy up in here. I don't want to talk about it if he hasn't seen it. There's literally, it's a good film. Don't get me wrong, but like to give the criticism I want to give, kind of I think ruins.
What's the genre?
Movie.
It's a horror movie.
It's like horror suspense. It's really like.
It's actually a lot like Bly Manor. It's 2001. It's a lot like Bly Manor.
Yeah.
It's not a like in your face horror. It's a ghost story. It's set in what, World War One? I want to say World War Two, something like that. I want to say World War One. And it's with Nicole Kidman, and she has 2 little kids, like her kids, and they think that their house is haunted.
I feel like we've talked about this in passing at some point, because I feel as soon as you said Nicole Kidman, I was like, wait a second. I feel like I've either seen scenes from this floating around on YouTube or Facebook, or we've talked about it, and I'm like, I think if I looked at it, I'd been like, oh yeah. I mean, I know I haven't seen it.
Well, the movie, it was parodied a lot when it came out. So if you ever seen, I want to say like Scary Movie 2 or Scary Movie 3,
I've seen also scary movies.
They make fun of it in one of those movies. I know.
It's on HBO Max right now.
And it's a lot easier homework than watching Memento, and it's October, so it fits in with the theme of the month, sir.
There you go. Ryan, you caught it, right?
I have to do that. Huh?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why they're going to remake this. Like it was fine.
Yeah,
I guess
it seems necessary.
I don't remember. I mean, it was well received from what I remember, but I don't remember it being super popular in like theaters or whatnot. So if they try to like make it modern day and try to like put in stars that are possibly American, because I feel like that's what they're going for. They feel like there's definitely something there to try to do it, because a lot of people probably haven't seen the original, even though it came out, what'd you say, 2001?
Yeah, 2001.
Yeah, so I mean,
yeah,
it was 20 years ago. So if they modernize it, it might play well, but it's just kind of silly. 20 years doesn't seem, it's a long time, but it doesn't seem that long to me. But
right.
I don't know. Whatever. Just make it. I'll laugh at it when it comes out.
Oh, it was set in 1945. Okay. But yeah. I would highly suggest and I agree with you, Matt. Like it came, I believe it came out like in August of 2001. It was like in this weird, bizarre time. Like it was kind of like The Sixth Sense, where it came out like in August, and it was like a horror movie. And I think you're right, Matt, where it came out and like not a lot of people went to go see it, but it is definitely like a good movie. Like if you pay attention to it, it's really good. I think it was one of the best horror movies of like 2000 or the 2000s.
I know, just chalk that up on the list of all the ones I have to see.
It is a low bar, but it is.
But no, yeah, you're right. It is definitely a standout.
Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on. Obi-Wan series is to start filming in March. Yay! Woo! Which kind of goes along with this. I didn't put this on here, and now that I just thought about this, apparently, if you guys haven't heard the news, Disney is focusing all their attention onto streaming. All new content and everything is going to Disney Plus. So, yeah.
I mean, that makes logical sense for them. I mean, if you don't know what the status is with theaters going on, why would you even waste any of your resources going forward when you already have stuff already built up for theatrical release? Just use those resources, as limited as they are, because I know their revenue isn't as high as it should be right now. Use it for your streaming content. I mean, that's obviously the avenue that is safest, that you're going to make your most revenue for right now. So it makes sense. Right. It sucks for me, but it makes sense for them.
Right. Like, I guess this is from you. Well, first part of this news is from Ewan McGregor. Like, he confirmed that the series was supposed to start filming in March. So I'd say early 2022. Even like late 2021, because like The Mandalorian was filming during like January of this year, wasn't it? So I'd say late 2021. If it's anything like The Mandalorian, it'll probably be around October, November. But I do agree with you, Matt. Like I think that Disney has the right idea right now, where they're going to focus anything that they can onto their streaming service. Because let's face it, besides The Mandalorian and maybe when these Marvel shows finally drop, Disney's slim pickings. And their biggest competitors are Netflix and now HBO Max.
What are you talking about, man? We saw that Ivan movie. Ryan got to watch Haunted Mansion.
We own it on DVD. It wasn't even on Disney Plus. Well, we used to own it on DVD.
Okay.
It's in a big stack of
now that
we no longer own.
Oh. Buy Haunted Mansion.
No good.
No, he's like, I'm gonna feed this to my bonfire.
I'm gonna resell it and buy something bad.
That's right. Going along with why do we need this and Disney news, apparently they're developing a Space Mountain movie. Like the Haunted Mansion wasn't like a curse enough.
Well, they figured they've already set the bar low enough where it can't be worse than the Haunted Mansion, right?
I don't know. Like, this is Space Mountain, people.
Just get the
Like,
Rock in there. You'll be fine. It'll be good.
Just get the Rock in there.
He's gonna play actually Space Mountain.
Because he is the mountain.
I'm already writing this movie right now. It's good, man. He's like a cosmic gladiator called the Space Mountain, and he goes around defending those that are oppressed.
It sounds better than there was another Disney film earlier this year. Man, we've talked about it like every week, but I just slipped my mind.
Is it Artemis Fowl?
Oh yeah.
Ding!
Can't let a video go by without mentioning it.
That's right. So yeah, this is from the Hollywood Reporter. The Joby Herald will also produce and partner with wife Tori Tunnell and their Safe House Picture banner to create Space Mountain movie. Yay!
Yay!
It doesn't really say what it's about. It just gives like this brief scene about what the ride is. But I'm willing to bet that they're probably trying to cash in money like Pirates of the Caribbean did.
I mean, you swing enough times,
people.
you got to hit it. You got to hit the ball occasionally.
You got to hit.
They're like, oh man, should we do the teacups? Should we do Space Mountain?
Should we do Splash Mountain? Should we do Big Thunder Mountain Railroad?
I feel like Big Thunder Mountain Railroad would probably have been better.
Just call it Thunder.
Yeah.
In
Between
these uncertain times, I highly doubt it. Oh well. So, moving on. Gal Gadot and her name just like Patty Jenkins are reteaming for another Cleopatra epic. Be a retelling of Cleopatra. Paramount Pictures has won the auction for this bid, and which is set to be scripted by Laida Kala. I don't know. Sorry, some woman that scripted the Alita Battle Angel. Sorry. So, yay, another Cleopatra.
I'm
Everybody.
very excited for this. I think I don't know if it's going to be like directly the 1963 story, being that's like I think probably the biggest Cleopatra film we've had. Well, it's like the biggest film ever made, but for its time. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good movie. It's not an amazing movie. Best Picture nominee that year for, and I think like everybody in it, like Elizabeth Taylor, all got like at least Oscar nominations for it. That film set such a high bar for like production design and costume design that I would really like to see. I mean, Patty Jenkins has done a lot of really good work so far. So I'd be very if they take kind of a more traditional approach to it, or I don't necessarily want like CGI the whole time.
Ryan, I feel like you've got delusions of kind of like a grandeur for this movie, man. It's not going to be that great. It's going to be bad. They're going to phone it in. They're not going to spend all this money making elaborate sets. If anything, they'll just shoot in front of a green screen and then just trickle everything.
You're right, but Dune isn't coming out until next October, so I don't have an epic to talk about anymore. I miss epics, and the Cleopatra has a potential to be at least a very good-looking epic. And I mean, I think Patty Jenkins will have. I mean, I think it'll be good anyway. I think Patty Jenkins is a great director, no matter what she's working with. You know, and she's shown a lot of versatility, whether that be like a bigger blockbuster like Wonder Woman, or like a little crime thriller like Monster. And so I'm still very much looking forward to it, and I have unrealistic expectations for sets.
Okay, we just get The Rock. We put it in this movie, and it'll be fine.
They did that. It's called The Mummy Returns.
Maybe that's what you should get excited. We go find Brendan Fraser. We bring him in the movie. It'll be all good, man. Very nostalgic.
It'd be very Mark Antony-like.
They're gonna go find some type of king based off of some type of bug, maybe a scorpion. Who knows?
I don't like you guys.
We're just trying to
That's
make
not
the movie better, Ryan. We're just trying to make it better. It'll be good.
You guys,
It would be good.
Listen, worst case scenario for Cleopatra, it's got Gal Gadot in it. It's fine. It'll at least look pretty.
oh, wait.
I'm sure it would look pretty.
I mean, I'm
All
excited.
right. We're excited for you, Ryan.
Isn't Denis Villeneuve also working on a Cleopatra story still, or is that still in pre-production nonsense?
I think it's pre-production nonsense. The last time I heard, she
Okay.
was working at New Gods
Okay.
for DC. But who knows? Okay, so Green Lantern series was giving a series order by HBO Max. So there will be officially 10 episodes with Greg Berlanti and Seth Grahame-Smith writing. And it's not going to be Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart. Actually, it's going to be Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, Simon Baez, and Alan Scott as the Green Lanterns that are going to be introduced. So it looks like HBO doesn't have the Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart rights yet. So, yay!
I think it's also a tactic of which one works best going forward because they don't want to mess it up again. Again.
Well, I get your point too, Ryan, Alex, because it's just like these are not popular lanterns, except for maybe Guy Gardner.
But is that necessarily a bad thing?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like you take these unknowns and you don't have the expectations of a Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart. So, or even a Kyle Rayner. I mean, because he was very popular in the 90s.
Yeah, I would take this. You said it's 10 episodes?
Yeah,
no more?
Long.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect too much concrete story plot. I think it's going to be very open-ended just to kind of gauge people to see what is most popular and most appealing. So
Right.
that's so I would keep expectations low. Like it's not going to be bad. You just don't expect anything happening in one direction. I think they're going to actually juggle a lot of things and then kind of segue towards one thing right towards the end, but still leave it very open-ended for us, the audience, to tell them what we liked most. Or maybe we'll like all of it and maybe they'll, keep, it's like a popcorn effect. Everybody gets their own little mini side series kind of deal, or they'll just continue with the main series and just have everybody still be in it. So, but it's going to be very open-ended. That's my prediction.
Well, then I pose a question to you guys. Do you think that this is HBO's way of like their Marvel series? Like this is going to be connected to like a bigger DCEU?
I think it's definitely a start. Like you can't do it make the show and if that's where it goes, that's where it goes. But I think it gives them the opportunity to expand if they want to.
I think if it's successful, yes. It's really just testing the waters. They don't want to commit, have it be a dud, and then we're right back to ground zero of this entire mess that we've had for how many years now, going on probably about 7 years, 8 years since this DC universe kind of started. Yeah. I mean, not that it all has been a mess. No, when did Men of Steel come out?
2015.
Okay, so I was close.
13.
Yeah, so it's just been kind of if they want to get the ball rolling in the right direction, I don't think and that's kind of adds to the whole open-endedness. They want to test the waters. I think they want to take a strong direction, but at the same time, they want to make sure that it works. I think if they're going to legitimately compete in the future. So I do not think so unless it's successful, and then a season 2 may work its way into more canon material.
All right. Well, Greg Berlanti has said that this is going to be a little bit more adult than like the CW shows, because I know that's where like he kind of got started was with those shows. But I do know that like DC has also come out, or Warner Brothers has also come out that said anything that has a DC logo in it is a part of a grander multiverse. So everything is technically connected, but it's not, because they all kind of like work on their own little universe. All right. Cumberbatch is being confirmed for Spidey 3. Doctor Strange is going to apparently take on the mentor role that Tony Stark has now vacated. May he rest in peace. So yeah, Cumberbatch is coming for Spidey 3. Of course, this is like opened up a ton of speculation on if this is going to be some sort of way to open up the multiverse for Spider-Man, to introduce Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, so on and so on and so on and so forth. What do you guys think?
I think that's a huge safe bet. Yeah, I would put my money towards that. I think that's going to happen 100%.
I think it's a huge safe bet. That means that we just get Cumberbatch in every single Marvel movie out now. He's just going to show up randomly, whether it's in the movie itself or in the in-credit stinger. Just going to show up.
In the theater.
All you're going to, in the theater. He's going to walk in. He's going to tear your ticket. He's going to be like, "Thanks for coming, guys. Enjoy the show." And then make one of those little ring things. And that's what he's going to do. That's all you're going to see. If you're not going to get Mr. Robert Downey Jr., we're getting Benedict Cumberbatch now. 24/7.
Cumberbatchian.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for the way the story's going. It very much feels like they're just throwing as much into this movie as they can character-wise.
Yeah, right.
All of the characters, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, but we've talked about this, especially Ryan, where Spider-Man trilogies, or really just the end of every actor's regime, has been a stumble to the finish line, to put it, mildly. So it's like we have to be cautiously optimistic. Like it could be a little bit too much of an overload of characters. Has there been word of where they are as far as production goes on the Spider-Man 3, like in terms of percentage?
I have read that it is about ready to start production.
Oh, it hasn't even. Oh, wow. I thought they'd already started. Like, I thought they were like probably about, I would guess 20% in from like March. And then they just kind of stopped and then kind of picked it back up recently. Okay. So that was my mistake. Well, I thought they had started.
No, because Holland was still like first day of shooting Uncharted when they shut everything down. It was like,
gotta know your priorities, man.
Go for the Disney check. But yeah, like I from what I remember, like he was first day they shut down, and then like he just got back to doing Uncharted. So like I heard rumors that he was going to start doing this like within the next month or so, and I was like, well, how is that even possible? Like, is Uncharted like done? And I don't think it's.
Oh,
I
it's
don't
done.
think they're. Oh, it is.
You're not that excited for the blossoming Uncharted franchise, Alex?
No.
No.
I love Uncharted. This is why I'm hating this. I love the Uncharted series, but I'm going to see this movie. We've talked about this. I'm going to be like first in line to see it, so then I can criticize the crap out of it.
You can't hate Tom Holland, man. He's going to be amazing. It'll be fine.
I don't hate Tom Holland. Yeah, I can't hate Tom Holland, but I can hate the casting choice. He's not right. I mean, come on, man. It's like, what if they were doing a movie about, I don't know, who's a famous WWE guy? Steve Austin. What if Steve Austin, they were making a movie about him, and they got
Tom Holland to play him? That'd be awesome.
Hi, I'm here to play Stone Cold.
I think
No,
what
man. No. Good.
I think what I'm saying, like, you can take your George Clooney. Everybody loves George Clooney, like, or at least nobody hates him. And then if you throw him in as Batman, you can hate him as Batman.
That's very true. That's very, very true. You can't hate George Clooney, but you can hate Batman and Robin.
I won't say that
All
I
of it.
hate George Clooney, but
true.
we've
Alex.
somebody and I think it was Matt and I who have talked about this, where it's like maybe it's just I just don't get his movies. Like I've never really sat down and gone, oh man, I enjoyed this movie. Like there's Burn After Reading. No, I'm good. I think I caught Hail Caesar, and I was like, no, I'm good. The only ironically, I still have to watch Gravity, but I'm like, hey, there's that movie where he's in it for a second and starts floating off. Maybe he'll be good in that.
Alex, I'm defending your position.
Hi, George.
I know. I'm like, okay, yes, Ryan. You can hate him as Batman, but you can't hate him in general.
All right, so we don't have a name for this new Spider-Man movie yet, do we?
We did.
I thought it was Home Fries.
No,
I'm thinking
Homesick.
I'm thinking outside the box here, a little outside the box. If we bring in all of these characters, how about we call it Spider-Man Full House?
No, you got to call it Full Home.
Oh, I mean,
Full Home.
That's growing on me already.
I thought it was Home Fries.
It is Home Fries,
Home
but
Fries? Oh, that's right.
No, you got to be like the Homeverse or something like that.
I'm pitching this to Disney. I want it to be called Spider-Man Full House.
I'm on board.
Have mercy.
I like it.
Oh man, there's a cut it out.
All right.
Weird.
So Patty Jenkins has come to Twitter to say that Wonder Woman 84 is not going to streaming. That it will be on the big screen, and that if nothing like changes, that this theaters will lose money.
Kind of makes me wonder if she had a conversation with Christopher Nolan recently. I feel like I heard the same thing from him. Tenet is not going streaming. All right, we'll bring it out to the theaters. And oops.
Yeah, she says that she wants to. This is a quote from her Twitter. Correct. Direct streaming has not even been discussed. We are still 100% behind the theatrical experience for WW84 and supporting our beloved theater business.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good, but I'll believe it when I see it.
You know,
on the 25th of December.
It's one of those things where almost like New Mutants, where it's like, all right, we waited so long, man. We're just gonna wait longer. We've already waited this long, so we're just gonna wait longer until we can put it in theaters. Whatever. We're just wait longer.
To that point, did she say? I mean, she's devoted to the theatrical release, but did she say it's gonna stay in the time slot it is right now? Or did she mention anything of that sort? Of
it moving?
Yeah,
no,
or
that was her tweet.
Okay. So yeah, because I'm like, she's committed to the whole. She and the rest are committed to it theatrically releasing, but when is that? And to Matt's point, it's like we're just gonna keep waiting. We've invested this much time into, staying into that theatrical release. What's another however long? So, but if it stays at, I will wait and see if it comes out in December. I'm not holding my breath though.
I love this bit of news. I heard the sound effect, but it didn't cut to Matt, so I had to.
Matt, you have to do it again. It's still on me.
Still on you. No, I love this piece of news. I think it's obviously there's a risk that you run a risk of tanking your movie. And that's the risk that I think Tenet took. And financially speaking, it was a really risky decision whether or not it was the right one. But I love the fact that there's still these creators out there who have this say and then can essentially get what they want. I think it speaks to the power of the people that are in charge of these movies, not just the production companies. And so Patty Jenkins is like, we're not going to streaming. I think she's probably going to keep it from streaming for as long as she can. Just like Christopher Nolan, who had a lot of creative control, or almost entirely creative control, including control over a lot of things like marketing, distribution, which usually you don't even give. I mean, that's not always left up to just the creators of film anymore. So I think that's a really good sign that she's able to say, "Hey, this is not going to streaming." Even if it inevitably does go to streaming, I'm very happy that she's at least come out and said something instead of just us kind of wondering what's going to happen with this movie. So I mean, Patty Jenkins is definitely someone who gets what she wants, because I remember when they greenlit Wonder Woman 2, she was like, "I'm not doing it unless you fire Brett Ratner," and they were like, "Okay."
I think you bring up some really interesting points, and I hadn't really thought of like the personal aspect for these creators when they go into doing this. You know, it's something they work their whole lives for, to make these movies, to like show people, and then you tell them that, hey, you're not putting it in theaters. We're just going to put it on your streaming set so everyone can watch it in a theater. When, you know, your whole life you're working to make these features to be shown on the big screen for everybody.
Right.
And with someone like Patty Jenkins, who sat on this movie for what, 2 years now?
Yeah.
Like, and been working on it probably for longer than that. It's like, you don't want to consolidate that and be like, put it on streaming. No, you're going to fight for whatever it is to be on the big screen. I mean, I almost think it's to the point now where you're not even worried about whether it's going to be successful or not. You want it to be on the screen just because that's who you are.
For the principle, yeah.
Principle of it. So,
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, not only the principle, but I mean, like, Christopher Nolan makes like most of his movies in IMAX now anyway. So it's not like you're not going to get the experience that he wants you to experience on, you know, your TV screen or whatever. He makes these movies to be put on IMAX. I mean, because like, it wasn't Tenet, like half of it wasn't filmed in IMAX. Some of it
I
was.
believe so.
I know, like I know Inception was, like, parts of it was like filmed, and I want to say Dark Knight was filmed, like some of their scenes were filmed in IMAX too.
Yeah, I remember they broke one of 3 IMAX cameras in existence for Dark Knight Rises. Now there's obviously more than like 3 IMAX cameras, but
but yeah,
there's only 2 now.
I agree with you, Ryan. I mean, like you said, like Christopher Nolan, he made a franchise worth over what, $2-3 billion. She created, basically righted the ship for DC and made close to $1 billion with Wonder Woman alone. So yeah, if I'm Warner Brothers right now, Miss Jenkins, you can have whatever you want, because I mean, even if this movie is not as good as the first one, if it's put in theaters in the right time, this is going to make its money back tenfold.
Yeah, I agree with you there. As much as I thought Wonder Woman was okay to me, like, I didn't think it was great, but yeah, it's definitely, in the public's eye as a whole, has righted, as you said, the ship for DC. And so they're like, yeah, if you stand by it, and when you've been the only one relatively successful among us, then we're gonna follow your lead. So, and yeah,
right.
I definitely think that's the case.
All right. Lord of the Rings is coming to 4K in December, and I put this in here because of you, Alex, and the debate that you started a few days ago on our page. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Can a man just be watching a movie on Sci-Fi, post about his opinion, and then not? No. That's what Facebook is about,
that's what
man.
the site was about.
It's about making frenemies.
All right, don't let me bring up the Rotten Tomato scores, man. I will look up the Rotten Tomato scores.
No, please, for the love of God, don't do that. I want to hear about Rotten Tomatoes.
Tomatoes. Yeah, December 1st.
That is really not the Lord of the Rings news I thought you were going to start talking about.
What did you think?
I'm pretty sure that Amazon said that they were going to put nudity in these Lord of the Rings series that they're making. Was it Amazon?
I did not hear that.
Yeah.
Did they really?
I don't need to see naked orcs. I'm good.
I did hear that they were going to start filming in the new year, but I didn't hear that. Yeah. I didn't hear that.
I think that would be a terrible decision.
I second that.
Trying to go that Game of Thrones route, make it a little more hardcore.
I think if you got Witcher and Game of Thrones. I mean, Game of Thrones is not really dead now, but I'm like gonna kill your target audience with that decision to try to.
Yeah, next they're gonna be doing the next Fantastic Beast movie with nudity, and they're gonna be like, I was sorted into House Targaryen.
Or inspire a new demographic of 12 to 13-year-olds. You're just gonna love Lord of the Rings. It probably won't happen. That was the rumor. I don't have anything to substantiate it, but that's what I heard.
Okay, Clint, I'm not sure I need to watch Lord of the Rings in 4K. I think there's something particularly vintage about it. And I think it's just the way they shot it with, you've got your perspective, you've got, some shots even have a little bit of that perfect Peter Jackson, like practical effect depth of field to it. You get even a couple shots that are dark, have some film grain on them. And there's just something about watching it and everything feeling so real. And I don't want to watch them and be like, oh, this looks like The Hobbit now.
Oh,
in fact, now that you say that, I want them, can they actually lower the resolution for The Hobbit?
No, I was going to say that's where I was going to go.
Speed.
Is The Hobbit included in this, did you say?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't want that either. I love The Hobbit, the book, and I've not watched all 3 Hobbit movies. I've not watched the third one because of principle. I'm like, I'm not going to watch it. But what's surprising about, I can't remember which one. I think it was the first one where they were going through the Goblin mountain, and the CGI in that, and there was the Goblin King. They were going underground in the mountain, and it was terrible CGI, awful CGI for the time that is coming out. I mean, what, 2013, 14, 12? Okay, 12.
Yeah, it was 12, 13, 14, I think.
Yeah, and
12, 15.
Am I mistake? Is Peter Jackson behind those two? I don't want to. Okay.
Yes, this was his prequel trilogy.
Yeah, so it's I don't know what happened. They're not terrible. Let me say that they're not terrible, but they're a letdown from what we had in the very early 2000s. And it's how do you go from that and this, and you have better technology and better production material, and you totally, I'm good. I don't need to see that in 4K. I'm
okay.
Whatever.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, sir. The Hobbit trilogy is horrible. It is horrible. Because one, he spread out a book that is 200 pages long into 3 movies, and tried to borrow a lot of stuff without context from the Silmarillion.
Absolutely.
Which is basically, for all of you that don't know what the Silmarillion is the collection of how Middle Earth was created, where the elves came from, and basically this Bible of where all this stuff come from. And then you get the Hobbit, or it goes into the Hobbit, I think it does. And then you have the Hobbit, which it tries to stretch out a story that was only supposed to be made. You can fit into maybe a movie and a half, maybe. And he tried to stretch it out into 3 movies, which was a horrible idea. And I don't know if this was his decision or if it was New Line's decision. But if it was his decision, shame on you. You can't stretch out all that and try and add stuff without context, because that's where you lose your audiences. Because I remember with Lord of the Rings, that's 3 books that are hundreds of pages long, and he had to leave out stuff, and people were pissed. And then you get this book, and then you add stuff to it, and then people were pissed. And I just think with the first trilogy, he had that balance. He had enough information to do that balance where he can create these movies that were 3+ hours long and still be entertaining. But with The Hobbit, now they're 3 hour long movies that you're just some of these you get kind of lost in. Like the whole stuff with the Radagast, it was just like it was so out of context that you don't even know who the hell this guy is and why he's here.
Yeah, he's nowhere even mentioned. I mean, he might be mentioned in another, like in the Silmarillion in some way. I don't know. I've never read that one, but I've read The Hobbit, and he's not anywhere in the story.
Right.
I don't fault it for some of the creative liberties. It gets lost in the whole, we need to make a trilogy. You know, it's like, because we did it with this, even though it when it was originally written, that's how it was a trilogy, and they just kind of went with it. But then they were like, oh, we need to have a trilogy, and then they just, comparatively, when you compare it to the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, I will agree, it's pretty bad. Now, just on its standalone, I think it's okay. I don't hate it, but it's definitely leaves something to be desired. But that's just me.
I think we need to have like a one debate topic once a week.
I know that's there is that. I was kind of proposing that idea of we do.
We've already had
like
on in The Hobbit, so
that's right. Just dedicate an entire video of like all right, let's lay down all of our resources of why this trilogy is the best, this trilogy is the best, and so on.
We could do a whole video on who's the best Batman.
Oh, it's me.
I'm claiming Val Kilmer. I got this.
So to kind of go along with this, Warner Brothers will release each series separately on December 1st, and then as the Ultimate Middle-earth collection in summer of 2021. Moving on. I kind of skipped over this as in our Disney news, but Soul is going to Disney Plus. I think all of us kind of like predicted that, but it is officially going to Disney Plus on the 25th of December. So Merry Christmas, everyone. You get Soul. Or have some Soul. Or play some Soul. I don't know. Next up, Amazon greenlights a I Know What You Did Last Summer series. I don't know why. Like, what do we need this for? I think Scream probably killed it for these like horror franchises turning into series.
The Scream, to be honest, the Scream series wouldn't have been nearly as bad if they had just had the rights to actually use the legitimate Scream mask in the TV show. If you're going to get the series, get the rights to the mask too.
I know. Honestly, that's like the Ghostbusters logo. What you're going to make a Ghostbusters and you can't do? Yeah, I know. I
appreciate the shirt, Ryan.
It's like what is the point? You know, that's stupid.
I'll have a better Halloween shirt next week.
Matt's all like, you can't, sir. You can't have a better Halloween shirt.
Mine glows. My next week's glows in the dark.
Tune in next week when we're gonna do our video in the dark.
When Ryan is completely pitch black except for his shirt glowing in the dark. We'll just get you a black light, man. Put the black light right in front of you, and it'll just reflect the whole thing.
Nice.
All right, so Sarah Goodman, who was a writer on Preacher, will write and executive produce this, and along with James Wan, apparently. So James Wan and Sarah Goodman will be producing the series. And last but not least, Dexter's coming back to Showtime for a limited run. Have you guys seen the series? Anybody watch this series?
I watched the first 2 seasons of it, and I was intrigued, but it was just not something that I wanted to keep watching for whatever reason.
Okay. Do you guys mind if I spoil this?
Yeah, I'm never gonna watch it. Go ahead.
The only spoiler I know is that he married his sister. Oh wait, that's real life.
Ew.
No, he married the chick that plays his sister in the show.
Yeah. Jennifer Carpenter, I think is her name. Yeah.
That's the only thing. Yeah, that's the only trivia I know.
So he's done being a serial killer, and he's a lumberjack now. I don't know what that has to do with being brought back from a limited series, but let the man live peacefully. Yeah, Dexter the lumberjack. He's going to kill trees.
He's going to hunt poachers now.
Oh, well. If it's going to make the money and content, might as well. Showtime's probably like drowning now.
That's okay. I'm sure his asking price wasn't that high. I don't think he's doing anything recently. Has he been?
No, not that I know of. He did that one show for Netflix called Safe with a iffy British accent. It was a good show, but he had an iffy British accent. Other than that, no, I don't know what he's really doing.
It's like, hey man, you want to come back and play Dexter? Yes, but we haven't told you yes.
He's tired of. He hasn't been able to do the convention circuit recently, so he needs to go back to the well and do some more shows.
Okay. He's on Shadow Play. I don't even know what that is. In the Shadow of the Moon. This is from IMDb. Yeah, the last thing I can think of him doing is Safe, which is a Netflix show. And
it's about
Crown,
baseball.
Apparently. Safe? No.
Speaking of
Nice try.
baseball, I'm sorry, Matt.
Stop. That was out of all the horror movies that I watched this week. That game may have been the worst.
They were doing so well too.
I'm just hoping that, if we can win the 2 games with our only 2 starters, legit starters that we have, then we'll be fine. So we won these first 2, then we got annihilated this one. So we just have to win the next 2 and we'll be good. Or at least 2 out of the next 3.
Knock on wood here. I mean, it's all it counts as 1 loss. So.
Okay.
So even worse is I'm pretty sure the Astros are winning too. Sorry, you got me started talking about baseball.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
The Astros are winning too?
They were.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Okay, so I put this on our Facebook group page, but I'm going to ask you guys. So my bold statement is that I think that they need to bring back Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin in the MCU, and I believe he needs to be the linchpin for villains in the shows and in the films. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I remember commenting and saying, yeah, that needs to happen because he's incorporated in just about any other Spider-Man media, whether it be games or comics or something. He's in there enough where I'm just like, how come he's a little absent? So yes, he needs to be at some point a huge pin.
Right.
Yep, totally agree. Totally agree.
As long as they dress him up like the Kingpin from Into the Spider-Verse, I'm down.
Yeah, where he's got like the tiniest head and like the hugest body.
I think they should just toss him in Spider-Man. He might as well. Everybody else is in it.
I think he's definitely.
Yeah,
I think he's a high enough lister to pull that off. I think it would be fine, and I think he would be more than capable of doing it. Now, if that's the creative direction they want to go, that's another question.
Well, rumor has it is that Netflix is going to release is able to release their rights to the Marvel TV shows that they had starting next month, I believe. So the characters from Daredevil and the actors and stuff will be released from Netflix, and then Disney will be able to do whatever the hell they want to do with them. So I have been screaming this from the rooftops since Daredevil was canceled, that they need to bring back every single cast member of that. I thought Charlie Cox was an amazing Daredevil. I thought that whole show and direction was pretty much on par of what Daredevil needed to be. And Vincent D'Onofrio was amazing as Kingpin. So I think that they need to bring back those shows on Hulu or wherever they need to put them, but they need to bring back that stuff. even the Punisher. Like I wasn't really a big fan of the show, but I think that he did a pretty good job as the Punisher. John Barthenol or whatever his name is. Yeah. So, all right. That's news, guys. You guys have anything else?
Nope.
Nada. Okay. In that case, we're going to get to our review. And this week we watched the first 3 episodes of The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is the 2nd season of The Haunting of Hill House, an anthology series. So this is a brand new series. So the show is about a au pair that has been hired by a Englishman to watch over his orphaned niece and nephew in the house Bly Manor, which is in the countryside in the middle of nowhere of England. And she has some spiritual baggage, and the kids apparently have some spiritual baggage. I'm gonna go first, since I let you guys go first like the last couple of weeks. For strictly staying on the first 3 episodes, I actually I liked the character setups. You can tell that she's a little damaged for some reason or another. She's got some ghosts following her around. The kids are spooky as hell. And I liked how Mike Flanagan has done this again, where in the first couple episodes of Hill House, it kind of did the same thing, where you start to set up each of these characters, where they're going, where they're coming from, all that stuff, and not giving real enough information to keep you watching. I will say that this one has toned down on the supernatural effect of it, where this feels more character driven than like cheap thrills and cheap scares, where Hill House, like it started off with all that stuff. Like the first couple episodes were very heavy with all that stuff. Well, I shouldn't say heavy, but I think in the first couple episodes it was a little bit more than what Bly Manor has. Where I'm expecting that Bly Manor is probably going to be on the back end, where all the spooky stuff starts to happen on the back end of this stuff, where they're setting up the story in the first couple episodes. Because this is only what, 9 episodes, something like that.
Yeah,
I know it's like 9 or 10. So I've watched up until I finished episode 5. I thought episode 5 was probably the best episode that I've seen so far.
Is that the Hannah Grace episode?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Ryan, you haven't actually seen this, have you?
No, but you just said it was Mike Flanagan, so I'm going to.
Yeah, both of these are Mike Flanagan. Like
That's
both,
what I get from search.
Yeah. So then the 3 of us have watched at least up to episode 5, right?
Yes. I've watched 6.
Okay. So then let's go off the first 5 episodes, because that's where I'm at, and I don't want you guys to spoil it. So of the first 5 episodes, yeah, episode 5 is probably the best because it starts to get into that supernatural aspect of it, where a lot of this stuff starts to kind of make sense and like where her character has been. I did like the episode before where it starts to explain the au pair's backstory, and it kind of gives a little bit more in depth on where she's going.
And for anybody who doesn't know what au pair, it's the French word for, or British word,
right.
whatever, for nanny.
Right. Okay. So the nanny, Poppins, I think she's lovingly referred to as. But yeah, I am digging Mike Flanagan. Like he's doing something special with horror movies. Like I love Dr. Sleep. I thought that was a great sequel to The Shining. I second
that.
Yeah. I forfeit, sir.
Awesome. Because I think he's doing a lot of Stephen King stuff. Like he did Gerald's Game and stuff, and I think he has a way of balancing out what fans expect and what King kind of expected, especially with Dr. Sleep, where he kind of balances out the first movie, but entails most of what Stephen King wanted. Now, going back to this, like I think he does a great job of world building, especially within horror movies, in these horror series. So like this looks great. Like all the acting is pretty good. Like those kids, I can't say enough about those kids. Like they've done a great job, at least in these first 5 episodes. So this isn't something that you need to watch. You don't need to watch Hill House before you watch this one. There's no connection to these. These are an anthology series. So if you pick up this one over Hill House, that's fine. As far as like the first 5 episodes go, I prefer Hill House, but I do like where this is going.
Yay! I'm gonna piggyback a little bit about what you said, Clint. These first 5 episodes are so similar to how Hill House was at least cut and put together from my perspective, and this is not a spoiler, but I think things change drastically after House 5 and it becomes its own thing. I will say this about the show: I love the casting of both of these seasons. I didn't realize that well, I don't know if you can call her the main girl. The main girl was the same girl from the first series. It took me 2 episodes before I was like, wait a minute, she looks really familiar. Oh, that was Nell. Because her hair is different. Those kids also so great. That the girl, I think especially, like sometimes those kids like ham it up and like are kind of hokey and not and focus on being creepy, but I think they do a great job naturally. And so far I haven't really been disappointed with them. I know and we've talked about it briefly. The main reason why I really wasn't feeling the show before is just because it felt so familiar to the movie that I had watched, and I was just a little turned off by that. But I think once it gets into its own thing, which literally takes it about 5 episodes to get into that thing, which is half the series so far, it seems to be getting better. And I haven't finished it, so obviously I can't and I wouldn't comment on that. So I'm not sure how it's going to end. I'm just very excited for what I've gotten into, at least the last half of the season. Like you said, it's very character driven. There's very, very few, and there weren't that many in Hill House to begin with, but there seems to be very, very few like jump scares or like sneak scares or anything like that. I'm not going to comment on that either because I don't want to ruin anything. But once you watch a few more episodes, we'll talk.
Okay.
If you enjoyed Hill House, I would definitely say check this out. At least as further as I am, it definitely gets better. If you're looking for like jump scares or looking for like a super more like overtone like creepiness, like legitimate like themed haunted houses that kind of like Hill House was, you're probably not going to like this because this is definitely very character driven. There are a few things that are kind of like your typical Halloween horror stuff, but it's very few and far between, and it's very slow burning. So I would definitely, I can't recommend it if you don't have the patience for it, but as far as like casting and acting goes, it's really great. That episode 5 was probably, even, I know you said it was your favorite, Clint, and I refer to it, I don't even know if it's called the Hannah Grace, but I call it the Hannah Grace episode. It's probably the most Hill House episode I feel like in this show, as far as the way it was put together. But I think it's good so far. If you're in for something creepy and you're like Mr. Flanagan, check it out. It's good. And hopefully next week I can come back and say I was right, it was fine, or come back and say, really, they wasted all of that for this.
Yeah, right.
So.
Okay, so I agree with a lot of what you guys said. You took a lot of the same kind of nuggets I was thinking. I've only watched 1 episode of Hill House, and I think that was like right as it was popular and had just come out. So I only know the 1 episode to kind of reference or compare to, but I could already tell that it's very, very similar in style. It's very slow. And yeah, it's like Matt said, if you do not have the patience, you won't enjoy this movie or enjoy this series. So because it's just like, if we had been reviewing the first 3 episodes, I honestly would have been like, even though the character development I think is good, I just am like, if you're expecting a horror flick and you're getting what you're getting and a lot of build up, then it's just not for you. So that's why I would say a 5. But objectively speaking, I'm still gonna give the first 3 like a 5, but it got better. Like episode 4, yeah, you get more, like Clint said, you get an insight into a little bit of background information of the nanny and why she does certain things and she acts a little odd. So it's like you needed that, because it was that's one thing I don't like about the main actress. I mean, like, I know it's her character, but it's like she's always unsure of whatever she's like being asked about, talked about, anything. It's like, hey, you want to go get a sandwich? I don't know. I'm like, come on, girl. I know you're freaked out about everything in your life, but please just be certain about one thing in your life. Go be certain that you have to use the bathroom or something. But that's whatever. That's one little nitpicky thing. I'm gonna start with bad stuff before I get to good stuff. Another bad stuff, none of us have mentioned that this is actually the Spy Kids mom from, I think she was also in Hill House. She's at a I mean, you learn this really, really soon in the show, so it's like, it's spoiler, but you learn it really soon. Is she's at a wedding, and for some reason they're just hanging out in this manor, and she's telling the story. That's what you're watching in this series. You're watching the story that she's telling. She's, bits and pieces narrates throughout it all. And so the story is actually set in 1987 and kind of jumps around based on, people's background information. But it honestly, other than like 1 or 2 scenes, it doesn't feel very 80s at all. Like, their wardrobe doesn't feel 80s, except a moment here and there. The furniture doesn't feel 80s. So I'm not going to take that away, because honestly, that's not really the focus of it. I honestly don't even know why they made it 1980s. And in fact, the story being told is taking place in 2007. I thought that was a weird thing. So, but that's neither here nor there. I do like the character development. I don't agree that episode 5 was the best. I think it's like, it's both, and I can't say why, but I think it was both really good, like interesting, and very like interestingly cut, but it was also super annoying at the same time. And Ryan, when you watch it, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Like, I see why that is, but I'm not going to tell you why. I think episode 6 was my favorite, because you'd mentioned Mike Flanagan, with the whole Dr. Sleep thing. Now that I knew that it was him behind both projects, I was like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense, because this reminds me of Dr. Sleep like so much. And I love Dr. Sleep. I really wish I could say why. There's a certain character who this nugget of information gets revealed, and it's like, what?
He'll shoot you in the face.
I know, that's what I'm like, Alex.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying.
But you're talking about it, man. I'm trying to give this guy no information. All I would say, you should just tell him it's your favorite episode.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Clint, 6 is my favorite so far too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's the aspects that are similar in both projects. That's why I like it.
of course,
so
6 is also the one I think that if you watch it, it'll either be your favorite episode or you might end up hating the show. I think it goes either way. That's
a good point too. That's the make or break. You could say that about 5, but I agree. It's 6. So I enjoyed it all. I think had I just stopped at 3, I would not have thought that the show was as good. I think I'd rate so far, overall, I'd say it's about a 7. I'm interested, and I want to see, and we're actually, after all of this is said and done, we're going to be watching some more of it. So it's entertaining. Me personally, I don't think it's as horror driven as I would have hoped, but I think it makes up for that in character development, and it's very emotional and story driven. So it makes up for that. I mean, we all found ourselves like watching and being like, what? You know, like not about the horror, about like, whoa. And so I respect that, and I think it's an interesting take on what is more or less supposed to be expected as a horror film. I keep calling it film series, but I've enjoyed it. I would recommend it. I don't know how similar it is to Hill House, other than just comparing it to that one episode. But it's decent.
As far as like, I think as far as like tone, like Hill House is a lot darker. Like this is more like, not, how do I put this? In Hill House, there's like a lot of grays. It takes place a lot at night. There's like a lot of like the gothic tone to it, where this feels more like it takes place a lot more during the day. There's a lot more like the yellows and like the brighter browns and stuff like that are in this, where and it just feels a little bit more, I don't know.
I think,
out, Matt. Like,
no, I'm just trying to, as far as how the stories are set up itself, I think Hill House is more of like, there's almost an overbearing evil that's there the whole time because of the house. I don't think you really feel that this much. You know that there's something wrong in Bly House. You know that there's something off, but you're not entirely sure what that is. You know that, but in Hill House, I feel like there's always danger afoot. I don't think I felt danger in Bly as much as I just felt things were off.
Right. Where like, and also like Hill House is more of like a family drama, where because it's about the after effects of what the 4 siblings go through, I want to say,
and how they deal with death.
Yeah, and how they deal with death. Whereas like this one is more like psychological, things like that, like how you deal with childhood trauma.
And I did forget to mention that the kids acting, I agree, is awesome, especially on the part of Miles. Like, I feel like he's supposed to be a 10-year-old. I mean, he is 10 years old, but like obviously he's playing a 10-year-old, but he speaks like, and you're like, wow, he's very sophisticated and mature, and it's like his gestures are that of a seasoned actor, and I'm just like,
you're like, they should have put him in the Umbrella Academy.
Hey, I mean, they'll probably go for season 3 and be like, hey, you can jump on board, man. We know you're done with that.
It's good, man. So far, I'd give it a 6.5, just based on those episodes 5 and 6. So I'm not ready to give it a 7.
I'll give it a 7.5.
Yeah.
So to cut this review short, two of us, not including me, have watched Hubie Halloween, and I will allow these gentlemen to give their review of Hubie Halloween, because I'm not watching that shit. Sorry. Take it away, guys.
This is the quickest review of all time.
Oh, mine's quicker.
No, mine's gonna be quicker. I love this movie. Just kidding. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I am honestly a fan of most Halloween films, especially like cheesy Halloween films, and especially ones that kind of have that comedic feel to it. And the only one I can really think of that I'm a huge fan of also is Ernest Scared Stupid. If anyone hasn't watched that, go watch it. I got a little bit of those vibes from this movie. It's your typical Adam Sandler fare. He makes your dumb jokes. They all make dumb jokes, but it has an Halloween theme to it. So I enjoyed it regardless. Plus his mom's t-shirts, as dumb as they were, made me laugh. 5.
I bet I could spoil it without even having watched it, where something happens in the 80s when he's a kid that correlates into what he's doing now. That's how every stinking one of his movies happens. And I'm like, you have no other material, man. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, it's usually based on an adult character who has grown up and had a weird life. So I guess that kind of works. But I think his character graduates in like, which the time of this movie didn't really make sense to me, because I feel like he said he graduated in like 84 or 85. And I'm like, dude, that was like 35 years ago. How old are you in this movie? Are you legitimately 55 or 60? Like, what is up? So, but I mean, yeah, it's kind of like that. And he plays like a goofy character in some of the jokes. Most of the jokes are really stupid. Actually, all the jokes are really dumb.
Ryan's like, that's more like it.
Because he's 8 years old.
He is 8 years old.
Yeah.
So what is your overall score, sir?
Mine?
You have 5.
Yeah.
5 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
It just
All right,
Ryan.
it hit enough specifics for me liking those type of movies to just give it that. I'm not gonna go out and watch it again. If it was on TV and I was just flipping the channels, I might leave it on there, but I don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to like turn it on Netflix and rewatch it. It's also his last best movies since
I'm sitting here like I'm just waiting for Ryan to explode and just tell us how good it is, as good as Cats.
Oh, dude, I was literally gonna talk about Cats.
It's not.
Yes, I'm like psychic.
Is it okay if I say it's not as good as Cats?
It's not. So I was gonna rewind the clock a bit. In December, I went to the theaters and I sat through Cats and then Playmobil the movie. Rewind the clock even further to let's say 2016-17, and I went and saw the Emoji Movie in theaters, and I sat through the whole thing. Even further back, bad movies. I got 6 minutes into Hubie Halloween and couldn't.
Dang.
That is the extent of my review. I couldn't get through it.
Well, the question is, if you had paid for a ticket, would you have sat through it?
No, I would have left. I think.
Dang.
I think I would have left. I don't think there was anything that could compel me to sit through potty humor through a stupid accent for an hour and 45 minutes.
Have you never seen any Adam Sandler movies?
I have seen several, and I don't even think I like any of them anymore. I've spent the last however long since I watched Happy Gilmore, deciding if I actually like that movie. And I'm worried that if I go back and rewatch it, I will start to make enemies by not liking it. I think there's not been a funny Adam Sandler movie that I've seen. Even ones that strike chords for me. I own all 3 Hotel Transylvania movies, and I don't like any of them. I like his drama work, and I hate that he didn't get an Oscar nod for Uncut Gems, because it's definitely what led to this movie getting made.
That and his huge Netflix contract where they just give him money to pump out films.
I was having a discussion with another he likes Adam Sandler a lot, and we were talking about how much we appreciate somebody who can helm his own projects and take a budget and basically do whatever he wants with it and get his friends involved. And then I thought about it, and I was like, this is $23 million that could be spent doing anything else.
Dark Crystal.
So yeah, I was gonna say, I think Adam Sandler's budget for this movie was twice the budget of the little indie film I saw on Thursday, which I would love to talk about if we've got a minute. But goodness gracious, I mean, I think in my review, I said if anybody wants me to actually fairly judge this movie, I will sit through it. But I will call it my worst movie of the year if I do.
I can't argue. I haven't seen any. I kind of wish I don't want to say that because then I'd have to go and do it. I haven't seen any of his other films that he's put on Netflix within the past like 2 or 3 years to like compare them to it. So I don't really know how they stack up.
I sat through Ridiculous 6, which I thought was insulting to Westerns, but he didn't do an accent the whole time, and it wasn't just fart jokes. So at least there was something to watch there. I sat through his one where he's, gosh, I don't even. They're all.
Isn't there like a murder mystery one or something like that?
Which is literally the title.
Yeah,
I think.
That's the title.
There was one with
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, there was one with Jennifer Aniston. There was one on Netflix with David Spade.
Yes.
I can't remember where he's like
the do-over.
Yeah, that was it. And then there was one, the Cobbler. I remember starting that, and that was actually okay.
And I freaking hate the Cobbler and the do-over. I think the do-over was one of my worst films of whatever year that came out.
I don't think the Cobbler was terrible. Like I didn't because we had to go somewhere. I remember not finishing it all, but I remember what I saw was okay.
I think
I was
Was that
actually
under his
surprised.
Netflix? Was that under his Netflix umbrella?
I don't think
yeah.
I don't think the Cobbler was.
I don't
I
think
feel
so.
like that was. I remember seeing that on Redbox, so that definitely wasn't under his Netflix.
I think it was. I think it was just part of his like, hey, I'll have a bunch of other movies on Netflix now that I'm making movies for Netflix.
I could have sworn it was, but maybe I'm wrong.
So
They're all the same, yet they're all so different.
I agree with half of that. Matt, you said that this was his best work since Uncut Gems because cleverly it's his only work. I think that one video he did on SNL where he was in maybe 30 seconds of it was his best work since Uncut Gems.
Possibly. It was
the
his best
Cobbler
work
was
since.
The Cobbler was distributed by Image Entertainment.
What accent does he do?
Speech impediment.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's the water boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the water boy.
Which
fun fact, in 6 of his movies, the love interest names all have the initials V and V.
Vicky Valancourt.
Yeah. I forgot this one. I already forgot her name.
Veronica Vaughn. Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah.
What's her name's character's name in Happy Gilmore? The reporter. Shoot. Vanessa. I think it was really close to that. Vanessa.
Which, fun fact, it's the
something.
same girl that plays his love interest in this movie.
What's her name?
In Happy Gilmore?
Yeah. The girl from Modern Family.
Modern Family, yeah, the wife. Shoot, what's her name?
Julie
Anyway,
Bowen?
Yeah,
Julie. That's it. Thank you. Gosh.
She looks completely different in Happy Gilmore.
What was Drew Barrymore's character's name?
I don't think that's one of them, but it might have been.
Shoot.
All right, join us next week for our expose on all Adam Sandler films.
I will.
Where we all talk in accents.
Kidding.
What is this Sandy Wexler?
Oh, that was it. Oh,
Sandy Wexler?
it's not good.
Yeah.
That sounds
Apparently it's not
familiar.
good.
I remember barely finishing that one.
Just put him on your no list. I don't think you're going to enjoy anything Adam Sandler comes out with.
I mean, if I couldn't get through an Adam Sandler film on Netflix with an hour 45 minutes just for the sake of having it on my worst list, I'm not going to get through another one for any reason. This is free, and I couldn't get through it. Like that's an easy top 10, top 5 worst of the year, up there with Doolittle and Artemis Fowl and all the other garbage that's come out this year.
I honestly wouldn't give it like that. If you enjoyed Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, I think this is a little better than his previous stuff.
Oh, then you're saying I'm in okay company.
I think you might be all right.
See,
I don't think you'll think it's horrible. Except his accent is dumb, obviously, but he has an accent in Billy Madison too. So.
He has an accent in everything.
And
even if he doesn't, he does.
Let's say that you also hate Billy Madison.
Sir, I need you to leave.
I know. I'm going to ask.
You can't. You ain't cool unless you pee your pants.
Is that from the movie? I never finished it.
Ryan, you disappoint
Ryan
me. So
only does the highbrow comedy, okay? None of that lowbrow stuff. The highbrow.
I mean, I saw him arguing with shampoo bottles, and I quit. And that's like the iconic scene from that movie. And I felt myself losing brain cells.
Battling shampoo bottles. I'm the conditioner. I make the hair silky and smooth. I'm the shampoo. I clean the hair.
What? German.
Oh, come on, man. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Okay, I gotta get one objective opinion out about this movie. I really hated how many famous people were in the first 6 minutes of it. I get that like it's like a Adam Sandler cinematic universe or whatever. I don't care, but I was really. It reminded me of Muppets, but not funny. Where I was just so distracted by how much stuff he was being like, hey, look at this, hey, look at this, hey, look at this, hey, you hear that? And I was like, great, there's a story in this movie, right?
No, he wants to have a fun time, and he wants you to have a fun time while watching it.
Yeah, see, that's his movies. They have I would say anything that's after like Mr. Deeds or Click, that all of them have like the exact same formula every time. As I mentioned before, he goes like, back in the 80s, something happens to him as a kid that somehow 30, 40 years later, 50 years later, however the heck old he is, that somehow happens then. And that's always that. And he always has Kevin James, David Spade, Rob Schneider, Chris Rock, all those guys that were in Grown Ups. All of them are always in the same movies. And, yeah.
He's like if Johnny Knoxville were a millionaire.
I'm Adam Sandler. Welcome to Numbnuts.
I feel like Johnny Knoxville is a millionaire.
Probably is. Yeah, that was a to say. I just figured that he hasn't had like a big box office success in the last couple of years, so maybe he's like a really close. You're probably right.
Are you telling me Action Park wasn't a big budget success?
No. I think that was one of like the 10 lowest grossing movies of the year it came out. Or like not lowest grossing, but like for its budget, like it was one of like the biggest bombs of that year.
Can we just go back to the well and just make another Jackass movie, please? Let's just do it, man. They're like 50 years old. It'll be fun.
I mean, yeah. Bad Grandpa got an Oscar nod.
That and Clerks 3. So then we can know his opinion, Randall's opinion about the
prequel
about
or
the
sequels.
The newest trilogy of Star Wars. We have to know these things.
Oh my gosh.
Clint, would you allow me to also talk about a different another new release this week?
I feel like you've seen it. Yeah, you didn't talk about the other one, so you can talk about whatever you want.
So, right? Yellow Rose.
Yeah. It's an indie film called Yellow Rose. Really like micro budget film. It had a film festival run last year, and a wide release this past Thursday night. So this weekend it had its wide release. I don't know how wide that wide release is. Because like a lot of theaters are just closed now. I know our AMC has it, and it's not a huge AMC, so I'm hoping it's kind of a national wide release. I just wanted to talk about it because it's probably not one of those films that would have gotten a wide release if it weren't for nothing else being out. It's a little independent film by Diane Paragos. She usually does documentary stuff, and that's I think probably what some of the pushback on the film is. It's got mostly positive reception. So it's a drama. It follows a girl she's living in Texas with her mother. They're both immigrants from Malaysia, and her mother gets arrested and threatened with deportation. So she's got to choose between basically getting deported with her mother or kind of following her dream to become a country musician. It's occasionally it's not a perfectly made movie. It's got lots of little editing problems. Stuff that you probably wouldn't find in a big release. And its political message is a little pushy, but it is really good. It's one of the best screenplays I think I've seen this year. The way that she handles the character drama of it and, the beats that surround the character arc that instead have to resolve the story by the end. The dialogue is really realistic. You often find like dialogue is very movie-ish, but characters feel genuine and they say genuine things or they don't say genuine things, or you've got like your meaningful build-up moment and instead they have a couple words about it. And that's kind of so rare to find in like not a big theatrical movie, but like to be able to go see on a big screen. And the movie looks really good for all its micro budget constraints. They did a really good job with like the production design, the sound mixing. It's got, I don't know anything about country music, but it's got a country musician. The performances are really good. I don't think it will get any Oscar nominations. It's just going to totally fly under the radar, but I hope it does, especially for lead actress because she's like 14. And I didn't hate the country. I don't like country music, and I kept like tapping my foot the whole time whenever there was singing involved. So it's very short. It's very heartfelt. It does a lot of emotional beats really well. It's funny. It's dramatic. It's emotional. And it's, I mean, you know, unless you just cannot stand movies with political messages, it's, I think, a really good watch.
Cool.
Well, I think we talked about that briefly. Where that's the one beauty about all these movies getting pushed back is that smaller films that have the, you know, the guts or what, just the means to come out, they're getting these big auditoriums to showcase their films. And especially with a film like that, you say you're not sure if it'll get an award nomination or not, but for quite frankly, it's not like it's got a lot of competition. So
Yeah, I mean, I saw that, like, I was looking at a list of like the 10 Best Picture nomination predictions by some big site, and like one of them had come out, and I was like, crap, do we still have 9 more Oscar films that Netflix has to release? And I know like one this weekend was is going to be like an Oscar runner, and there's a couple. So I guess it depends on what else comes out. Because if nothing else comes out, I really hope this will be an Oscar pick. If we do get like 9 other Oscar movies, I think like Nomadland is still set to come out in December. So I guess it'll just depend on like what comes out. Because I mean, critics received the movie really, really well. So I think it's got like all the makings for that film that kind of sneaks in there, grabs a couple nods, and probably doesn't win, but at least gets some notoriety for it.
Cool. All right, well, thanks, Ryan. Yeah, it was released on the 9th of October, and an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes.
we had the poster up in our hallway at work. But I ain't got keys, man. I can't get it for you. I'm sorry.
One's gonna be running for that one.
All right. You guys got anything else?
No.
Cool. Okay, so next week we got 2 things to debate on. Netflix is releasing. I think I'm gonna write Netflix and tell them that we're like watching all their movies and we need to get sponsorship.
Oh yeah,
Getting a little ridiculous. The Trial of the Chicago 7 comes out on Friday with Eddie Redmayne, Sasha Cohen, Baron Cohen, Justin Gordon-Levitt is in it, Mark Rylance, and Jeremy Strong. It is the film based on the infamous 1969 trial of 7 defendants charged by the federal government with conspiracy and more arising from a counter-cultural protest in Chicago at the Democratic National Convention. It is by Aaron Sorkin, and it has already got a 94 on the Tomatoes. I have heard that it is pretty dope, pretty good. There is also Hellstrom, which is a new Marvel series that is coming out on Hulu. I'm going to be watching this because it looks like it's a little bit more horror based than Bly Manor, but it is Marvel. So, what are you guys leaning towards?
I'm down for the Sorkin movie. That's an easy yes for me.
Okay.
I don't have Hulu, so I'm really excited for Trial of Chicago 7. I've been looking forward to it for more than a year now, since I found out it was happening. So I'm definitely going to go see that one. I'm going to go see Honest Thief with Liam Neeson tomorrow night, so I can have that for next week. I think that's the title. Liam Neeson's latest action movie.
Not gonna lie, I totally missed the explanation of Taken 6. No, I heard that part, but I don't know the movies that were before that, the Hulu movie and the other thing.
Okay, so the Hulu series is a Marvel series. It's very supernatural. It's supposed to be a little bit more horror-based than Bly Manor. But the Trial of the Chicago 7 is it's a courtroom drama, and it's basically about the trial of like 7 people that were up for conspiracy, and they had a protest at the Chicago 1968 Democratic National Convention. Borat is in it, Eddie Redmayne's in it, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. There's a few people that are in here. But I've heard
Both
that
of
the
those
acting
sound
is
pretty
really
interesting
strong.
to me. I would say, I mean, whichever like you and Matt are kind of leaning towards. And what I mean, I heard Ryan say he doesn't have Hulu, so I mean, what is it? Chicago 7?
Yeah.
That's the one that's on what? That Netflix?
Netflix.
Our new
Okay.
sponsor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go with that just for Ryan's sake. But I'm down
Yeah.
for either. So.
All right. Next week is the trial of the Chicago 7 then. I'm going to watch the first few episodes of Hellstrom. Give you guys an update next week then. All right. We all good? Nobody has anything else? Last
Nope,
thoughts?
I think we got all of our reviewing fumes out.
I've just put in my order for Adam Sandler #1 fan T-shirt for Ryan. You should be getting it in the mail in about
And somehow that shirt's gonna have an accent.
I will wear the films that I work on.
And tune in next week for our first debate. What is the best Adam Sandler movie ever?
I'm ready.
No Adam Sandler movie.
That one where he wasn't in it.
I'm a fan of funny people. Does that count?
No, I mean I'm a decent fan of Adam Sandler, but some people aren't.
All right.
I understand that.
All right, well, and until next week. See you guys later.
Bye, everybody.